Not glasses. We gotta have glasses.
Glasses.
At the ready. At the ready. At the ready. Right. Oh man.
This is episode 51, right?
51. 51.
51. All right. Are you going rum and I'm going whiskey?
Sure.
Why not?
Okay, so our sponsor. Welcome to the Cabana Hole.
Episode 51.
Episode 51. We've got Flor de Cana, carbon neutral certified. Whatever. 1890, like they were checking it in 1890. Rum.
And
Para mí.
this is Knob Creek Rye. 100 proof. I do like higher proof.
Yeah. So we're videoing this early
Yes.
because I'm gone next week.
Yes.
But this will play next week.
Off to Hawaii.
Off to Hawaii. Look, I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah, it's on there. Definitely on there. So, cheers to Hawaii.
Cheers to Hawaii.
I hope you have a good time.
That'll be tough.
I will be making more cheese this weekend.
Will you be cutting the cheese?
Well, my daughter cut the cheese in our doorway. We were laying in bed watching TV, and she opened the door to ask Christina something, and just ripped ass. And I was like, good job, like, way to go, like, that sounded awesome. And she ran and jumped on the bed and turned her butt and started going like that. And so I like tapped her butt, you know, and apparently I did it too hard because then she started crying uncontrollably. Whoops, bad dad.
How? You weren't patting her butt that hard.
I know.
I think she just all of a sudden realized, I have mortified myself.
No.
I've stooped to the level of my dad.
Maybe.
She just broke down. It's like, what have I done?
Probably.
Next thing you know, I'll be drinking in Dana's Cabana.
I hope so. That'd be awesome. Because that would mean you stayed alive for many more years.
Oh, you wait until drinking age.
At least Bibby's age.
Right. Oh, man.
So yeah, more cheese.
It reminds me of the first time I got drunk.
Ooh.
Well, okay. Yeah, it was the first time. I had to think about it again. But that was a different problem that I had. But the first time I got drunk, my sister.
Yeah, Rita. Surprise.
I believe it was her first time coming back. She went to England when she was 19.
Mm-hmm.
She's coming back to visit. We all got to this restaurant, and she's already been, you know, high societied. So she's got to order a bottle of champagne, right? And my dad was not a drinker. My mom wasn't either, actually. But when she married this other guy, Irv, they drank wine.
Sure.
So anyhow, Rita, of course, orders this champagne, and she's filling the glasses, and my dad just kept sliding it over to me. And so I was probably 9. And it was bubbly, tasty. It was wonderful.
Way to go, Dad.
And I drank it up. And I don't think she knew, but that was the first time I ever got drunk. Thank you, Rita.
Good job, Rita. Way to go.
You are the reason for my problem.
Yeah. How many?
Oh, and that brings me to some sad news.
Oh, what's that?
Well, you never met him.
Okay.
Her first husband, John Bound, he just passed away.
Oh, really?
90. He was a year older than my mom, so.
But they still like.
They were still friends. She just saw him last week.
Yeah.
Sent a picture of her with him, and I mean, this guy, when he started his 90s, he was still, I believe, doing some downhill skiing.
Wow.
Yeah, the dude just had an incredible gene pool or something pool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's inevitable when you're in your 90s, you know.
Yeah.
But there you have it.
I mean, if I could still be mobile when I'm 90,
Yeah.
alive and mobile, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, and he still sailed, but I believe he got caught in a storm when he was in his 80s or something like that. And I think he just decided, yeah, I'm going to stop sailing
Yeah.
as well.
Probably can't swim ashore.
That's a hearty dude. So, you know,
Yeah. So
John.
cheers.
Cheers to John.
Cheers to John.
Yeah.
So I made the first 6 cheeses for the cheese party.
Yeah, cheese. Sorry. I digress. That's why it's called
That's
Cabana
why it's
hole.
called down the Cabana hole, and that's why
It's like a rabbit hole.
We let it go. So I made the first 6 cheeses last week, and then I have all the cheese to make the next 6 cheeses,
Wow.
and so I'll be prepared. But then I have a lot of paperwork to do. Like I'm gonna make 3x5 cards with all the cheeses on it, so you can pick your favorites and tell me little notes,
check boxes and
little
stuff?
check boxes with notes.
Sounds very official.
And then, we're going to cut up one of each of the 12.
Uh-huh.
But then I have 2 more, 1 to 2 more, so I could sell them. If you're interested. If you're interested in those cheeses.
Oh, we like cheese. Yeah,
And,
we're cheeses.
So I did that. So that's good. But here's my beef.
We've got beef tonight.
Here's my beef.
Not just booze and chips. We also have beef.
So, you know the...
What's gonna be
Is there
blue?
the chili cheese Fritos in the back? Is there any of those left? No,
What? Hang on.
there might not have been enough. We might have ate them all. No, it's like an orange bag.
Yeah. No, not there.
Not? Are you holding out on me? In the
No,
way
I'm
back
not.
there?
I'm not.
I
But I
guess,
did have one the other day.
I guess I'll go with blue. You probably ate it. Because usually they only come with a few.
Okay, so
I'll go with blue.
blue. Now you have some beef.
So-
for us. Beef.
You know, the real reason why I even made cheese to begin with is because
101.
I ate a lot of craft singles. And everybody always said, oh, it's made with oil and it's gross, right? It's not healthy, right? And so I saw this recipe where someone made this cheese, and so I made it, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Like, everybody should eat this.
And so it's very similar to the Kraft singles.
It's not as plasticky,
Right.
right? The one that I make, right? It's
Right,
not
of
as
course.
plasticky. But it still
you-
has the meltability, right?
Because you probably don't put plastic in it like they do.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Well, anyways. So I was like, just thinking to myself today, like how much oil is in this, in craft singles, right? Like,
Right.
what's the ingredient list? So I went to old Chat GPT to give me my AI research. No,
It
no.
lies all the time, dude.
Well, it lies about subjective things. But here,
It makes up facts. There being attorneys who were busted in court.
I know. I understand that.
Okay. But
So,
anyhow,
anyways,
continue. We'll pretend I told you the truth.
I looked this up. Craft single, I said, what are ingredients for craft single? Okay. Milk, whey, milk protein concentrate, sodium citrate, which I use, which is just emulsifying salt. So that stops the oil and the natural cheese oil and the cheese from separating.
Oh,
Because that's what happens. You put like a piece of cheddar on your burger, it gets greasy because the oil
it's separating.
is separated.
Gotcha.
Calcium phosphate, salt, sodium phosphate, milk fat, gelatin, artificial color, enzymes, some kind of coloring, paprika extract, natural flavors, and sorbic acid. No oil. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? Everybody says, oh, American cheese is full of oil and crap. Maybe it's not.
Have you done your own research without ChatGPT
Well,
to see if there's a different answer?
this is what I did do. Is there oil in craft? Oh, and what oil? No, craft singles do not contain oil. Instead, they are primarily made from dairy ingredients like milk, whey, and milk protein concentrate.
And
Their
plastic.
creamy texture and meltability come from the emulsifying salts, which I use, and milk fat. So I don't use milk fat, I use heavy cream. Rather than
That's milk fat.
rather than vegetable and other oils. Also check the specific product. So it's saying like, okay, you better double check me. Okay, that's fine, whatever. And then I said, okay, where did the concept of American cheese being made with oil come from?
Oh,
Right?
right.
And it said the idea that American cheese is made with oil likely stems from confusion about the nature of processed cheese and its ingredients. So misunderstanding of processed cheese, right? Comparison to cheese alternatives, right? Some imitation cheese products or substitutes often used in lower cost foods do include vegetable oils.
Ah.
So maybe Kraft Singles was lumped in with that. And similar products, many processed foods like spreads or cheese-like products do contain oils. So like you get that generic Kraft Singles, probably made with oil.
Because it's not Kraft.
Because it's not Kraft. Like, so this kind of thing, like, I made this cheese for nothing. But I think it is better.
But was it for nothing?
No, it wasn't for nothing.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So then I said, well, what else? What else? Like, this got me thinking, like, you know when you're a kid and your mom tells you something, and you're like, how do you know that? Oh, my mom told me that.
Right.
Right? There was no internet
Right.
back then. So I asked ChatGPT, so this was fun. Give me 5 things people believe that are actually false.
Ooh, and what did it say?
And ChatGPT said, we only use 10% of our brains. That's false.
Well, okay, I can understand that because how do you even measure that? Sure, they got those little electrode things that they can hook
You
to
measure
your
with an MRI.
brain and see
MRI.
what's being activated and stuff when you do stuff. But,
So that one's pretty easy to debunk, right? With science.
yeah.
Bulls are enraged by the color red. They react to the movement of the matador's cape,
Right.
not its color. Shaving makes your hair grow back thicker.
We all know that.
You can see the Great Wall of China from space.
Ever since I went au natural, I mean, it's like a jungle.
Yeah, I know. You can see the Great Wall of China from space.
Well, now hold on. You can't?
No.
You can't see even a little squiggly line?
Maybe if you're trained to look for it. But they're saying, while it's a massive structure, the Great Wall is not visible from space with the naked eye.
Okay.
Its color blends into the surrounding landscape.
Okay, here's a cool one.
Okay.
That makes me believe that, because I always found it kind of hard to believe that as well. I think I've mentioned this to you before. Take the Earth, shrink it down to the size of a cue ball.
Yeah!
It's going to be smoother than a cue ball.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It just lets you know just how big the Earth is.
How
It's huge.
wide. Like,
Yeah.
like the circumference versus the...
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then the last one that it gave me was swallowed gum stays in your stomach for 7 years. It does not linger in your stomach. While it is not digestible, and that was kind of the point, it passes through the digestive system like other non-digestible substances.
Like
So-
car keys.
Like car keys, yeah. So, that just got me thinking, like, okay, like we believe all of these things that our parents told us, our grandparents told us, when there was no internet, right? No way to
Right.
fact check it. And do you even think to fact check things that you regurgitate?
Oh, most people don't.
Yeah.
Once in a while I do. Because usually what helps is like when we're talking about something, it's like, no, wait, and then we do a little bit of research. But
And then, how much of the news was really the news back in the day?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't.
But everybody says, oh, I wish we could go back to the
No, they were
50s
lying
and
back
60s.
then too.
Yeah.
They were lying
Yeah.
back then too.
Yeah, everybody's lying.
Yeah.
Everybody's lying.
Everybody
That's
has-
my beef. Why does everybody lie?
Everybody has always lied.
Yeah.
But okay, but that also touches on the thing because you're talking about parents say this, so I believe it. Well, I think it's very funny when these atheist types will just rail on Christian parents brainwashing their kids. Well, I'm sorry, but you're brainwashing your kids too. You're living what you believe,
Yeah.
and you're trying to instill that value and that moral code onto your kids.
Yep.
What's the difference? There's no difference.
The difference is it's not what I would do, so you're bad.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, and this is one of the things that I love watching interviews with people. Obviously, there's been a lot of people regarding the whole Trump stuff, but I really especially love it with people who became Christians, because especially from scientists who fought it, who did, and I love the line of this one professor. He said, he was in his research, he keeps finding these things that point to Creator rather than just happened.
Yeah,
And-
but again,
Hold on.
rabbit hole.
And so, but he kept avoiding it until finally another professor said, you can't just avoid it. You've got to investigate it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's science.
These things
You have to
that are making you
investigate.
question certain things, you got to investigate it further.
Yeah.
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 And I think that's the biggest difference, because most people, and maybe it's just the crowd I'm in too, because most people think of Christians as just this mindless, I just follow this because, whereas I've known a plethora of people who that is not how they became believers. That is not how they came to believe. It was because they were challenged and they had to investigate it.
Yeah, I think if you have a super scientific mind, someone has to challenge you. But I think a lot of people that I've met who weren't weren't raised that way, like they had a moment.
Oh yeah.
Which is very personal. Like you can't science a moment.
No, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
And so a lot of that. But here, you want to talk about science fiction.
Sure.
You know about, have you heard these stories about the Anunnaki and like all that jazz? So I'll give you the dumbed down, I forgot most of it version, but it's essentially a version of history where aliens called the Anunnaki came here and they messed with our genes to make us like we are now. Right? That's why we have all these like hominids and all this stuff.
Right.
They messed with our genes and basically did gene splicing and whatever. Like you can go ahead and tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine. And created us as we are today.
Right.
And so there's a whole story about the Garden of Eden was the place where the humans were science messed with, right? And they kept them there to keep them away from everything. There's all this huge story, right? So I was just thinking while I was watching this video, because it popped up on my feed, and I'm like, if that is true, because those people believe these were gods because that's what they were told.
Right.
We made you, we're gods.
Right.
Even though one of the brothers who was in charge told Eve that, you're just as good as us. Like, we did this to you.
Right.
We're not gods, blah, 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 okay?
Okay.
So, let's pretend that's fact.
Sure.
Okay? It feels like, to me, when I read these stories, or I hear, I don't read it, but like I watch these videos, right? Because they're fascinating, right? Because some people actually believe this.
Oh yeah.
Does that exclude a real creator?
No, that doesn't.
But would that, if you believed that, like how much of today's like Christian narrative would you have to not believe? Could you believe it all?
Well, no, because if that was true, then the faith in Yahweh and in Jesus.
But Yahweh was a person in this
deal. But my point is that flies in the face of what the Bible teaches in that regard. So it is one or the other. Now, if you were to take out the Bible, take out the Old Testament and the New Testament,
but
just say that these people created us, then of course you could believe that there is an overall creator, because how did those people get created?
Okay, I agree with that. But you'd have to throw out everything. But if like, let's say it was true, okay? We're just rabbit holing this, right? Let's say it was true, and everything in this video is true. But this is like the beginning of human beings as we are today. That doesn't necessarily negate, like, Jesus actually happening. Because those people were gone.
Right.
So could the Old Testament be about that? And Jesus did really happen.
And so Jesus rose from the dead because they genetically made him?
No, I'm not saying any of that.
No, but my point is you got, because quite honestly, for me, my faith centers on the empty tomb.
Okay, but what about somebody creating humans as we are,
right?
And the Creator sending down Jesus? Like, what makes them both not possible? Like, let's say these, like, if everything is made by the Creator, right? And these aliens came down.
So
and
these aliens are made by the Creator.
Well, if everything is made by the Creator.
No, that's what
right?
I'm just putting in order. So here's the Creator. He makes these aliens.
Yeah.
They come over here to this little planet.
And they find the hominoids and
they make us.
they genetically alter. They don't
then,
make us.
No,
they
right,
genetically alter
right.
us to be what we are today.
Yeah,
right?
but see, I didn't make the clay, but I made the sculpture.
Agreed.
So they did make us. Because they sculpted us.
They sculpted us. I'll agree with that. Okay.
Like God's word says, out of the dust, out of the clay.
Okay, so that happened.
They breathed life into us, just like the Bible says God
and
breathed
then there
life
was
into
the
man.
pyramid wars and the flood.
Pyramid wars?
Well, the thing about this
That's
is like,
awesome.
See how the pyramids around the world are like similar?
Right.
And you can find depictions that shouldn't be where they
Yeah,
are.
but okay.
Like this is all make-believe, right?
Isn't math similar? 1 + 1 is 1 no matter where you are. So perhaps
yeah, but like a
building
purse,
a giant
purse on a picture, the same purse on two pictures across waters. I'm just saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right? It's not the pyramid.
No,
it's
okay,
the
okay. Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah,
depictions
yeah,
also.
yeah.
Right? So when then they left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those people left because it flooded.
But this is what I was getting at. So then the creator of those people that manipulated us into being said, no, that's not who made you. I did. So I'm going to send down Jesus and bypass these guys. That's what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying, like, could both of those things be true?
No. In my opinion, no. No, because Jesus didn't clarify any of that.
But maybe for good reason.
And the reason is?
Why muddy the waters with
things like you must eat my flesh and drink my blood to be saved? That's pretty muddy water.
But here's the thing, right?
He was really upsetting people.
But the reason that he came down wasn't because of the aliens. It was because of how humans were treating people and living their lives and praying to false gods and all of that stuff, right? So what does that reason have to do with the aliens? Nothing. Nothing.
Right.
It's all about our behavior and how we can.
Yeah, but the problem is if he is sent by the Creator, like you're saying, they're aliens, but he was sent by the Creator that created those aliens. He's got all of his words are gold, even more valuable than those aliens if we had their writings, because he came from their Creator, and the way he talks about himself, he is the Creator. He's the one who created the aliens and us.
In which book are you speaking?
Just in the Gospels, he alludes to the fact that he was there at the beginning. And the disciples pick that up in their letters to the churches and in the Acts.
Okay, so there is absolutely 100% zero chance
That scenario happened, in my opinion. Yeah, zero chance.
Okay. Not even like the small like.
Well, and I've heard scientists point out the fact that you can't. I mean, unless there is something undiscovered, which could be, you can't even get across the universe, across the galaxy, to here. It doesn't work out with physics.
That we know of.
Unless we find something very weird.
Well, wait 100,000 years.
Sure. I'm up for waiting.
Right? Like, I'm just, like...
Spitballing.
Yes. I find it very fascinating that people that seem, like, very smart, very intelligent, right, do research, like, believe that.
But see, here's the answer to that. Once again, it comes back on Jesus. He kept depicting us and likening us to sheep. And you know what?
But everybody clowns these guys.
No, but
like, they're not.
No, but
my
point is, everybody is sheep. Those guys have their thing that they're just going to follow, and people who don't believe in God have their thing they're going to follow. A lot of Christians just follow Christianity because, it's just people are highly intelligent idiots
Well, I think we can cheers to that. You're watching us, so I hope you're not one of those.
I rest my case.
I'm sure you're very smart. I'm sure we're very smart. Acting like idiots.
So here was a thought that I had. Now that we've seen that movie, that you kept saying, "Oh, didn't happen." A side
Didn't
issue.
happen.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Who said it didn't happen?
You did.
How drunk was I? And
You were drunk.
very. And was I just saying that to get under your skin?
Yeah, you were just being,
No.
there was a jerkified part of it as well. Now, I grant you, it's a movie, so they're going to hype up stuff that these guys are doing.
Okay.
But the reality is, this team of ne'er-do-wells is what they needed to go in and do an impossible mission, and they did it. But here's the little side issue that I think is worth talking about.
Okay.
And this goes into everything when it comes to government. Is the FBI great? Yeah, in the right hands. Is the CIA great? Yeah, in the right hands. So these guys, Churchill had to do this without letting Parliament know, without letting anyone know, because it would have gotten shut down. They have their protocol, And so he does this little secret thing. Generally speaking, we don't like governments doing their little secret things, do we? Now, what he had this team do was noble, was right. I would dare say righteous.
I'm sure you would.
But, you're, and it's just like when 9/11 happened and did the Patriot Act. I was convinced that it was because these government agencies weren't communicating. That's how it slipped by, and all it did was give the government more power to spy on us rather than our enemies. And all it did was enable big government to get bigger, for the swamp to get deeper.
Yep.
And it was stupid. So I'm just saying, that's a fascinating subject when you think about it, because I'm all for what these guys did, and lady. And I'm all for Churchill doing that. The problem is, in the wrong hands, you do bad things. Yeah.
Don't cancel me, please. Yeah, like.
Hey, you know what?
What?
Speaking of cancel,
Uh-oh.
I need to try that video again. See if I can play it.
Which video?
The one that I got banned on YouTube when we had the cure for COVID.
You should try to repost it.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I'd have to repost the video. But see, YouTube hasn't changed. I bet you I could post it on Facebook.
You should. Now that the fact checkers are gone.
Oh, that's what I'll do. I'll just post it on Facebook and say, hey, YouTube canceled this because it's medical misinformation. Yeah, I thought it was funny.
It was hilarious.
And so I wrote back to them and said, come on, man, watch the video. It's an obvious joke. Nope, we still feel like this is dangerous medical misinformation. Only we know the truth. None of us have medical degrees. And the man who invented this technology, we don't trust him, so he's canceled.
Yeah. Yeah. The weird thing to me is a certain kind of person would say that, we like Facebook because they, get crude people off their platform. And, a couple years back.
Right.
And, we don't want this COVID misinformation on our Facebook and all of this stuff, right? And now that a certain someone is in office and a certain someone has changed his position, they blame it on that, which it could be. It could be.
Could be. Because here's the thing. Zuck wouldn't have done that if Kamala had won. He wouldn't have done that. He's just...
For sure. For sure.
He's spineless. He wants to be an Elon Musk who's bold enough to say, no, F you, I'll do what I want.
Yeah, he's definitely no Elon Musk. But, the problem that I have is a certain type of people like to tout their great ways and how they allow growth and all this stuff. And when somebody shows something of that, oh, well, that just can't be true. Like, he's a spineless bastard.
Right.
Right? Like, it's probably a little of both, right?
Well, and I also wouldn't be surprised if maybe he just went, you know what? I was wrong. Because back to what I was saying earlier with people saying, well, here's what opened my eyes. I've also enjoyed watching people who were rabid Trump haters that are now supporters. And the interview of, okay, what changed? Why did you all of a sudden like Trump? And not that they like him, but they realized that there was stuff
option.
that, well, not just that. Like, there are a couple of people who were just so hardcore into that information.
Who?
Dave Rubin was one.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. That was
Kayleigh
pre-Kamala.
McEnany.
That was pre-Kamala.
No, but
I want to know
point is-
somebody post-Kamala.
Elon Musk is probably one. Okay, here's one. The guy.
But nobody likes Elon Musk.
RFK Jr. One of the guys that was working with him, I saw him interviewed by Joe Rogan.
Which guy?
I don't remember his name. He was part of RFK Jr.'s campaign, and he as well as RFK did not like Trump at all.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but he realized when Trump got up, when he got nicked, he didn't get shot. He got nicked, but still.
I mean,
there's
have
blood.
you heard the
And he
interviews
said-
of those
and-
sniper guys?
And he
saying
said when, oh, I know.
that kid couldn't have done it in that time. Like certifiable sniper badasses disagree with what they say happened.
Yeah, I know that.
Like,
Yeah. But anyhow, he said, when I saw Trump get up and say, fight, 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 I knew right then we need to change course. And he went and talked to RFK and said, you need to talk to him. Because he's actually going
so it's
down the
that
direction.
guy's fault.
He's going down the direction that we're going. And he said when they met, RFK was giving him his concerns, and he said there was never any discussion of, but the polling or this or that. It was all about, crap, we got to do something. That's horrible.
Yeah.
So
The other thing that kind of upset me this week
yeah,
is when Zuckerberg went on Rogan, right? I listened to it.
yeah, I did.
I listened to it. And he gave a good story, right? Of course, Zuckerberg gave a good story. I mean, the funniest thing was he talked about when he, pre-podcast, when he started Facebook, right? He would go on TV and it would be like a 30-second clip and they would edit the fuck out of it and he'd look like a dumbass. And he was like, I hated that. I was so bad at that. But something like this, I can actually talk.
That's why it's a long thing.
Yeah.
Those are the best interviews because you're just talking.
But even I could tell, like, he was choosing his words carefully, especially about, like, the fact checker thing and what happened before. And the other thing is because he does jiu-jitsu now, like, I met a bunch of, like, Master Tatum, who does the thing, like, there was a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys there, and because they used to have a jiu-jitsu guy there. Bibby did it for a while before the guy quit. But lots of things that I've heard and read about, like, jiu-jitsu guys, like, jiu-jitsu is hard, and it opens your mind. Like, you have to roll with people and not hurt them. Like, you have to be kind, even though you can kill them.
I don't like that.
What do you mean you don't like that?
It's a fight.
But when you're training,
Well-
not when you're, like, in a tournament trying to win,
Okay.
but when you're training,
Oh, well, yeah, when you're training,
Right?
that makes sense.
you have to be a killer, but you have to be
a
kind.
controlled killer.
You have to be kind. You
Right.
you can't kill, like,
Right,
your
right,
partner who's
right.
3 belts less than you, and you're the only guy there to roll, right?
Right.
And so some people were saying, like, the fact that Zuckerberg is doing that, and he's good, he's not bad, right?
It's probably opening his eyes.
It's opening his eyes to people that he never would have met being in his little tech bubble,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so maybe, just maybe, he's growing and seeing things.
He is a
and learning.
child, seems to me.
Well, he looks like
he
a
is.
child.
He is growing, I'm sure.
But, like, Like, nobody gives any, like, concession for that. Like, maybe he didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
No. I'll give him some concession, except for the fact.
Well, he did screw his buddies over.
Not only that, but just the fact that if it was me and I had this company, as soon as any government official says, hey, you need to tamp this down, no, I'm not going to do that.
But that's probably why you don't have that company.
No. I don't have that company because I never went down that path.
Well, I don't know. You say that very confidently.
No.
His excuse was, I have a team that handles that. Like, I want to make things.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. Because
Like, I want to make things. Like, I hire people I trust, and then they do what they think is best. And so, like, I'm not in all these meetings with fact checkers and government people and blah, blah, blah. But he was like, listen, all this stuff that was said to us, like these government officials yelling at our people, telling them they got to take this shit down, blah, 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 blah. It's all in Congress. We gave all that data to them. It's there. You can go look it up. Go look it up.
Right.
Right? All you people that don't believe that this was happening, go look it up. It's right there.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. He's still probably a dirtbag, but...
Yeah.
But...
So this kind of reminds me of another thing that I heard...
but he's a billionaire.
I know. You would think a guy that rich could pay somebody to cut his hair?
Yeah, he just likes the haircut.
He's obviously doing that himself.
Well, his wife probably likes it.
No,
I guess he blew out his knee. I guess he blew out his knee.
You do that when you're doing jujitsu.
Yeah, well, he blew out his knee, and he was saying that his employees were a little nervous because now he'd have time to send emails all the time.
That's funny.
And he said that his wife said, you have to keep, like, you're not done. When your knee is healed, you're fighting.
Cool.
Because you are a much better person.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, here's part of the reason why that is.
Well, you get all your aggression out. And
Well, not just that. Not just that. You get your butt whooped once in a while.
Yeah.
And you become humble.
Yeah.
Because when you're a billionaire, and when you say whatever goes, goes, and everybody says, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, you get this inflated idea. That's why Hollywood is so messed up, all these actors, because you got this inflated idea of yourself, but you get into a ring with somebody
who can fuck you up.
You get humbled really fast. Humbling is a very important thing.
It is.
It is.
It is.
Okay, but
most people have wives. At least I do.
That's not humbling.
Well,
I can think of a couple of Bible verses out of Proverbs. Something about a nagging wife and a dripping, leaky roof. Here's to Dr. Roof fixing that leak.
That's right. There's still some in that bottle. Yep. I cleaned my bottle, so.
So anyhow, there was this guy who, I forget who interviewed him. But it was a radio guy that was interviewing him. He set out to make a documentary years ago about wildfires. You know, wildfires in America, what causes it and all this kind of stuff. And he finished it a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And pitched it to, Netflix, HBO, all that kind of stuff.
No.
You know why?
Why?
They looked at it. They said, well, it doesn't put any blame on global warming. And he said, this is the truth. And he said, well, I just went where the evidence is. And that's not what's causing the wildfires. Oh, well, then we don't want it. That's all the lying that's going on. People watch documentaries. He's a documentary that's getting shut down because it doesn't say what they want it to say. Yeah. But something I didn't realize...
Now you just put it on YouTube.
Well, I think that's what he's doing.
If it's done, it's on YouTube.
Right.
Like, if you already put up the money and nobody will pay you, you're already out the money.
Well, no, it's so I want to look it up and watch it. But
I can tell you with knowing one forest fire guy, I can tell you why. One, they don't fucking clean the forest. Two, they don't, limb all the dead trees and get those out of there. Mm-hmm. And there's a fucking drought because they cut off all the water. Mm-hmm. Let's see. No water, dirty dirty forest. Like, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen?
Well, and here's something that I didn't realize.
Like, you don't need global warming for that to happen.
Florida burns more forest every year than California has in 50 years. Because it turns out Florida has the same problem. Used to. And back in the 90s, there was a massive wildfire because they'll get a hurricane that kills a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And as you know, everything grows in Florida because it's tropical.
Yeah.
It kills a bunch of stuff. You got fuel sitting there. It lights up. And so they just did the math and they went, we could save a lot of money. It's a fraction. So they do controlled burns every year.
Oh yeah. Slash and Indians used to do slash and burn.
I know that. The Indians, they were so wise, these wonderful people. Oh, but we're not going to pay any attention to what they did.
Well, no, because they're savages, right? And white people are so much smarter, so why would we listen to those guys?
But anyhow,
or I should say civilized people.
I don't remember how many
It's got nothing to do with being white, but
acres they burn, but they just have a very managed program
yeah.
of controlled burns,
Yeah.
so that way it doesn't get out of control.
Yeah. Here's to crashing and burning when you want to.
Yes, at will.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's like this. I came up with this thought. I can light matches and toss it into a gas can all day long. Ain't gonna do nothing if there's no fuel in it.
True.
If there's fuel in it, it's gonna blow up.
Yeah. Did you hear about that one house that was like sprayed with fire retardant and it just went right over it?
Oh, wow.
You didn't hear about that?
No.
There's like one house. I saw the picture. Now, I don't know. It's on the internet, so it could be a lie. But it looked like one house that had like special paint or it had fire retardant something, right? And everything around it was down.
Just
and
toast.
Just one house, it was singed, right? Of course, but it wasn't like...
Big difference between singed and ash.
You lost everything.
Yeah, man, that's just horrible.
It's so rough.
And
everyone cares. Everyone cares. There's commercials on TV, give money, send money from the rich people's houses. What about Maui?
Oh, I know. Exactly. We're going there next week.
You gonna check it out?
I don't know if we'll be able to go over there to...
You're gonna steal someone's land by buying it for pennies on
But
the dollar?
here's the thing. There was a guy, he just posted, one of those people posted this online. I don't remember which state, but it was one that just got devastated by the hurricane. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, look, man, we're here for you. I get that. But, Biden's promising all this money to you guys. We're sleeping in tents still. It's wintertime, and we're sleeping in tents.
And everybody cares about the LA fires.
Exactly.
But you know why? Because it's rich people.
No, but see, here's the contrast, though. You also get these assholes that go, "Oh, well, good on them because they're rich." That's
not
envy
cool either.
that is just absolutely wicked.
That's like to think it that way is 100% wicked. You're right.
Yeah, because. But you did vote in all these morons.
You did well. Not just that, but these are like Hollywood guys. So, is this wrath coming to them?
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
God can do what God can do, but I'm not going to presume that God has done anything.
Well, I'm not presuming. I'm just asking the question. No harm in asking a question.
That's true.
It's
no
just a
harm in
question.
asking a question with the pinky up.
You want to say, I have a question
No,
for you.
it's completely messed up. And people who are good for that, that's just
You
evil.
just want
That's just evil.
And the problem is, it kind of makes you want their house to all of a sudden combust.
Yeah.
Not with them in it, but have them lose everything and go, I guess you shouldn't have wished that on them.
Yeah.
Too bad, so sad.
I think those people don't wish it, but they're like, yeah, who cares? They're rich anyway.
Well, and that's why I don't understand when somebody who is your political opponent, someone on the other aisle, dies, when people revel in that, that's just horrible.
Who did that?
Well, like when Margaret Thatcher died, when Reagan died,
Democrats were like, hell yeah.
No, not all Democrats. No,
But even
there
some
were
people were like,
some
hell
that
yeah.
Ding dong, the witch is dead when Thatcher died. It's like, dude, do you know the guy that just passed away, John Bound? I remember
Who?
John Bound.
Who's that?
That I told you earlier. Rita's
Oh,
first
yeah,
husband.
yeah.
I remember when I went there as a kid, because he worked for oil and gas,
Okay.
and he was one of the people.
I thought he was an art guy.
No. That was her second husband.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He was overseeing the sea drilling construction of the sea drilling platforms in the North Sea,
That's cool. That's a cool job.
and so he got taxed 90%, because that was pre-Thatcher. 90%.
Like, what's the point in working there?
So you make $10, you get $1.
What's the point in working?
Well, because he made a lot of money, but
Well, the problem
he had
is-
a very, very modest lifestyle Because of that. But here's where he scored. So he goes to retire. He gets an offer from a company in Brazil to oversee some construction on platforms there. So he takes that as a short-term contract.
Mm-hmm.
The way the contract was written, there was the tax. He didn't get hammered with the tax by Brazil, but he also didn't get hammered with the tax by England. And he
Maybe.
banked
Oh,
it.
speaking of bank.
Yeah.
So yesterday was all those guys, like my boss's boss.
Oh, yeah,
and that
yeah,
guy
yeah.
was their last day. And they had like a retirement party for the big guy, Mike. But like the dude that got let go in Folsom flew up on his own dime.
Oh, wow.
Because he worked for that guy for 10 years. The other lady who sat next to me, like the cube next to me, she was there. Vivek didn't show up. But anyways, so we were there. But I saw Vivek in his cube when I was coming back. And so I went over to say goodbye, right? Because he helped me so much.
Right.
Like, that dude really propelled my career. Like, I wouldn't have the ops job without him. So...
And he's been...
Yeah, and he left. He retired. He retired from Intel.
Oh.
Because he was of retirement age.
Okay.
Like, he had the qualifications you need
Okay,
to
okay.
retire from the company. So I was like, hey, like, you know, like... And he kind of counseled me on a few things that I will not talk about. Just in case somebody watches this. Not that anyone will, but I just don't want to risk it.
Right.
But I was like, so are you, looking for a new job? Or are you going to go back to India? Because he's from India.
Yeah.
And his like, during COVID, his sister's husband died.
Mm.
There was a bunch of, like, in India. Like, because there was no air. There was nothing, right?
Right.
And then late last year, like, his mom and his dad were in the hospital. Like, he had to fly there. Like, it was really bad. So I was like, are you going to stay here? Are you going to go back to India? He's like, well, I'm not going to go. My kids are here. So I think his son is CEO of some, like, medical tech company in New Jersey. And his other son is running some other company. Like, his kids are, like, legit.
Wow. My kids are legit. I'm not, but my kids are.
Yeah. Well, he's legit, and his kids are super legit.
Yeah.
So, like, it worked out good for him.
Yeah.
He's like, but I know this guy. He's 10 or 12 years older than me. He's like 65. And he knows how to set up factories.
Oh.
And a company in India offered him a job to set up some factories in India. Now, he's 65, and in India, like, if you have a government job, when you're 65, you're done. Like, you can't work.
Oh, wow.
In the private sector, it's a little more lenient, but I remember the guy that we had running our India business, Pramod, he was 60, and he quit Intel and went to work for Microsoft because he was like, they're not going to let me work very much longer. So if I'm either going to stay here and ride this out, or I'm going to do something new for the last 6 or 7 years that I have in working age. Because in India, it's like...
So it's just socially unacceptable for you to work past that point.
Yeah.
Do you get fired? Do you get cut off and say, no, you have to retire?
Well, in the government, it's like a forced retirement. In the private sector, it's more like...
Just socially, I can't do this because then I'm looked down on, and
it's
companies
like
look down on.
And it's like the company is like, you should retire. Let me help you retire, kind of thing.
Interesting.
So, anyways, this guy, he's 65, but he's really good at like setting up factories. So this company hired him, and they made him an expat in India for 3 years, 3-year contract. There's no stock, but he makes $1 million a year.
Oof.
The company that he works for, like that he works for, owns hotels and airlines and factories.
Wow.
They fly him back to the U.S. every quarter, him and his wife, first class, and pay for hotels wherever they want to go.
Wow.
For 3 years.
Wow.
So he's like, you know, I'm not going back to India, but like, if something like that happened, like, I wouldn't say no.
Wow.
So it's like, man, I need to know people.
Yeah, I need to hitch your wagon on that train.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Like
cool.
$1 million salary in India. So it's
yeah.
no, but it's not 1 million rupees.
Right, it's $1 million US.
It's $1 million US in India, and he doesn't have an apartment, a car for his wife, a car for him, a driver for him.
Wow.
Like all paid for.
Wow.
Like the expat shit is amazing. I remember my old Theo, my old boss. I've taken him to Huna a couple times. He got an expat from Intel in Penang as like an engineering manager, and he had a house here, and so he had like 4-year expat. So they put him there. They gave him an apartment and a driver and a cook and a house cleaner.
Jeez.
They paid for it all and paid him his U.S. salary.
Wow.
So he basically spent 4 years paying his house down because everything was free there, essentially.
Wow.
And when he came back, like his house was paid for.
Wow.
And so he's like, you know, miles ahead of everybody just because he went to Penang.
Well, you know, Julie had this girl that was a teacher, I think at Sexton. She and her husband
Did they go to Dubai?
Yeah, they got this job opportunity. His was in the medical field, I think, like EMT kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And she did teaching there. They did that for
no taxes.
They did that for like 3 years.
No taxes.
And then came back here.
No taxes in Dubai. 0 taxes.
All I know is that they made bank, just bought their house cash, coming back here.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm so dumb.
Yeah, well, you know, this stuff just didn't happen when I was...
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
You just didn't know. You just didn't know it.
I did have a plan. It just kind of fell apart.
But not like a Dubai plan. You didn't have a Dubai plan.
No, but it was where I would have made some really good money because it was really risky work.
Sure.
And that was doing underwater construction for oil and gas firm.
Dude, you should have done that.
Here's what happened.
Okay.
So-
I don't know if I've heard this story. I've known you a long time. I don't know if I heard this story.
This is what took us down to Houston, Texas. Because we were in Eugene, and John and Reed at the time were living in Rio de Janeiro because John had that job.
With Brazil.
He knew everybody in the oil business. So he put me in contact with a guy at Brown and Root in Houston, Texas. And this is before internet.
Yeah.
This is before cell phones.
Yeah.
Snail mail. And phone calls.
Yeah.
But phone calls were expensive back then.
I know. Believe me.
So a little bit of correspondence. I get connected up because they had a diver training program for underwater construction. And so we got it arranged, and by the time we were able to leave Eugene, we drove down to Houston, Texas. What he didn't know is that the higher-ups were making a move to cancel their diver training program. Because my plan was to do 3 years doing underwater construction because you just made bank doing that back then. And it's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
You're out there, you're just underwater for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you come up, decompress, come back, 2 weeks off. And so that was my plan, is do that for 3 years, bank the money, and invest in island property to make my own resort.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad that didn't work out. For me.
well, and here's why I'm glad that didn't work out myself. Because flash forward years later, we were back at our rental house, and Julie went into the doctor, She did her usual physical, and she was going to leave, and she goes, oh yeah, I almost forgot to tell you, I've got this spot on my leg.
You told me about that.
Well, if we'd have been living down on some tropical island resort, she'd be dead.
Yeah.
She would be dead.
I have heard that story.
Yeah.
Maybe you did tell me the oil and gas thing.
Anyhow, it was with Brown and Root, and I missed it by that much. But the funny thing is, you realize, okay, I've always had this drive, because what did I end up doing? I ended up creating my own resort.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny. It's like
It's cold as fuck though, sir.
I've always had that drive.
It's cold. It's cold right now.
Yeah, it's cold. That's why I'm going to Hawaii and
If you had an
day after tomorrow.
Yeah. 5:30 a.m. Thank you, sir.
Boom.
I'll
Thank
be
you
ready.
for the drive.
And
where's your booze?
it's gone.
I got a tiny little bit left. You need to throw a little something in there.
All right, well, open that thing.
Laird's Applejack. Oh, this has been opened.
Oh yeah, because this is what you gave Christina, I think.
I don't know. Try it.
All right, that's good.
Try it. Yeah, just a little sip.
But I'll have
I still got to work tomorrow.
I do too. I think I'm going to go into work. I don't want to because the kids have the day off, so I don't have to take them to school. But
Why do they have the day off tomorrow?
don't ask me. They have
Because
Monday off. so
Monday
it's
is.
fucking
Yeah, I was
crazy.
gonna say.
I think it's like teacher grading day for the report cards or something. I don't know.
I need to listen to his speech again. It's been a long time since I've listened to it. I mean, the whole speech.
Which speech?
Martin Luther King
Oh yeah.
Jr. It's good.
Oh, it's
It's
really good.
good.
It's powerful.
But people always just I have a dream. No, you listen to the whole thing, and it's pretty damn sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason they killed him.
There's a reason they kill a lot of people, which is why
I'm glad I'm not smart. No reason to kill this dumb guy.
All right. And on
All right.
that,
On that, we know you're smart because you're wait, no. We'll just assume that you're smart and you're watching this because you're trying to fall asleep and this is the best way to do so.
yeah, I'm half asleep right now.
Me too. Cheers.
Cheers.